No, they didn't. No, they did not. It was a good game. They played well. They won convincingly. But all concerns to rest? No, not quite. Because we know what the defense is capable of. We know what Dak Prescott is capable of. What we'd like to see, what I would have liked to see, is the running game get going. Because the conversation on the offensive side of the ball, we know what Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb are capable of when they're there. We saw that last night. The question about the offense is the running game, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Should Zeke be playing right now? Jerry Jones clearly wants him to, so we see him out there. He's clearly injured. Tony seems to have a little bit more juice. There's a little bit of a controversy there. I don't actually even think it's 100% on Zeke or Tony why they can't get it going, because the offensive line has been struggling as well. It's the running game that's the question for me. We're going into the end of the season now. You want to be running on all cylinders if you are a championship contender. And the last 2 weeks have been really concerning when it comes to the run game. Now, listen, it is the Saints. Nobody really runs the ball on the Saints, but you had to try to do it, and they weren't capable of doing it. Zeke had 15 touches, 13 rushings, 2 receptions last night, 47 scrimmage yards. Not great. Tony Pollard had that big run for 58 yards. The rest of the running game last night had 19 attempts for 58 yards, so they couldn't get the running game going. That's a concern for me. You don't want to put it all on Dak. You don't want to have him forcing situations, especially when you get into the playoffs. They have to figure the running game situation out. Everything else, as you mentioned, looked great. Dak looked good. Amari, CeeDee, the defense did an amazing job, but the running game is the question for me with the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, man, Joy, didn't know you were an absolutist. I didn't know that Joy talked and thought in absolutes. All right, since you're an absolutist, let's talk in absolutes. Of course the Cowboys put all concerns to rest. Because when you hear all concerns, you got to talk and think in terms, as I'm trying to educate my son right now, in a figure of speech. Now, a figure of speech is not an absolute, Joy, but, my son, he's 6. Joy, you're not 6, but I know you understand where we're going to go with this. I'm not going to talk in absolutes because all teams have issues. All teams have something that concerns you, correct? So no team is going to ever answer all concerns to rest. But we're talking in a figure of speech. Like, did the Cowboys put things to rest? Absolutely. Joy, there goes that word again. Let's talk about it. You know why? The Cowboys did have a good rushing attack last night. This was their best rushing attack since week 5, 146 yards. Oh, Joy, is that putting concerns to rest? Now, Joy, I love what you did, though. You said, well, take away that run, my best outfit over here, my homegirl over here, and then what you look like. You can't do that to a running attack because most of the time it's 3 yards, it's 3 yards, it's 6 yards, it's 3 yards, and then it's a big one to boost that average. I like what I saw from the Dallas Cowboys last night. Now, the one thing I would change about this team that would literally put all things to rest is for Ezekiel Elliott not to get the main touches, the mainstay of the carries. Just to be real, let's call Ezekiel Elliott who he really is. He's Pigpen. You remember that dude from Charlie Brown? Just a cloud of dust. That's all Zeke is, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. He is not slashing. He is not Tony Pollard. He is not hitting the home runs. Ezekiel Elliott is just a guy who's just going to kick up some dust. And he's not the guy that's going to tenderize the defense. That's what the argument is. Oh, Zeke sets it up, and then Tony Pollard comes in there and gets all the rewards. I'm not seeing that at all. But in terms of concerns for this team is 8-4, 2 games up in its division, and has a pretty easy schedule going forward. All concerns, just as a figure of speech, have been put to rest.
No, Marcellus. I don't know if this falls into absolutes or not, but no, they have not put all concerns to rest because what are the concerns? The concerns are, can they make good on the apple of Jerry Jones's eye, which is to win a Super Bowl? Are they a genuine Super Bowl contender? Did they put to rest the idea that they can win the division? We might be able to make that case. I don't know if we can absolutely make that case, but we can make a case that they restored our confidence in that. Looking at how this game unfolded, though, it wasn't a dominant performance by any means. Taysom Hill basically decided at the end of this game, look, you can have it, Cowboys, okay? Who am I going to hit next? The last 3 throws, basically gave this game up. I'm not going to blame the first interception on him, but down the stretch, this game was still in the balance, and Taysom Hill literally turned it over to the Cowboys. My bigger concern, and I don't know if you guys have had this, you have a friend who is always asking for something. Can you come on my show? Can you come on my podcast? can I borrow the car? Like they ask and they ask and they ask. And finally, even though you know it's not a good idea, you're finally, okay, you can have the car, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That is the Cowboys for me. For year after year after year, they've been begging. Their fans have been begging. Skip Bayless has been begging. They're a Super Bowl team. Now they've got it. This is the year. Now they're going to do it. And I bought in this year. I finally relented this year. And what I saw last night, and I've seen the last few weeks, reminded me that no, they're not. They are a good team. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. But he needs everything to be clicking around him in order to be a top quarterback. He's going to take advantage of his advantages, but he's not going to create those advantages. So if you have Ezekiel Elliott off, if you have your wide receiving core not healthy, if your defense isn't coming up with big plays, then I ask, who is the game changer for them? Who is that piece that makes everybody around him better? It's not Dak Prescott. And as I look across the board, I don't see that guy. And so that's where, are they a good team? Yes. Should they win the division still? Yes. But does last night erase the concerns that I've had, the growing concerns that, you know what, they're just a good team. They're not a Super Bowl team. By no means did anything that happened last night convince me otherwise, that they are more than anything but a good team.
Rick, I did the same thing.
What'd you do?
I did the same thing.
What?
I finally gave in this year. I was like, no, I believe in the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They're always entertaining. They're America's team. They've always got something going on.
Yep.
It's fun. It's exciting. There's stars. It's Jerry Jones. Big plays. Big talk. And then we see what happens in the playoffs. It's the same story every time, at least for the last 20 years. So, yeah, this year I was like, no, they really look like contenders. I believe in the Cowboys. And for the most part, I still do. But I'm answering the question literally. Yes, I still have concerns. And yes, it is in that space. It's the running game and the offensive line. I think we all still have this idea that this offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys is the same offensive line that they had Zeke and Dak's rookie year. And it's not. And over the past couple weeks, when they've been losing, which is what you want to pay attention to, because this is a trend once you start to hit 3 games, this is a problem. In the last 3 games, Dak is getting pressured an average of 10 times per game. That's 30 quarterback pressures total. In his first 8 games, he was only pressured 6.6 times per game. That's 53. So it is a concerning uptick on how much more pressure Dak is having to deal with, on top of the fact that they're not able to run the ball. And you saw last night, now look, we can talk about what Kellen Moore was actually doing, but if you're going to go 3 and out, at least go 3 and out trying to run the ball so you can run the clock out. So that's a whole other conversation that we don't need to have. Okay. But when you're in that situation, you do want to try and see what you have there. Run the ball. You have to emphasize that. There's going to be points in the next couple games where they are going to need to rely on the run game. It's just the way football works. So those are my concerns, the offensive line and the run game. It doesn't mean that they're not going to win the division. It doesn't mean that they're not going to win a playoff game. But what we're talking about is, are we concerned about them being able to win a championship? It's implied in the question.
Oh, Joy. Oh, you fighting back. Okay. Let's go to war. I wonder if y'all have any concerns with the other NFC contenders out there.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? You have concerns for everyone, right? So good. Therefore, we're going back to my first lap, which was basically, this is not to be taken literally. This is supposed to be kind of like figuratively, or a figure of speech, loosely taken. But let's go and tighten this up. Cowboys, were they in Super Bowl conversations early in the season, especially when they were 6-1? Absolutely, yes. Correct? Was Dak in MVP conversations when they were 6-1? Yes. Absolutely. And when I see them have their best rushing attack since they were 6-1, since they were 7-0 now, then they have 100 yards or more rushing. Joy, you still got concerns with their rushing attack? I don't know why. When they force 4 turnovers like they did last night, the most since they did in week 1. When you look at them, not only stopping Taysom Hill, who stopped himself, he had a hand injury, whatever degree that hurt his chances out there. That was part of it. But his hand had nothing to do with that running attack. What did we see last night? 14 carries, 51 yards for the New Orleans Saints running backs. No Alvin Kamara, but still, they're running backs. So the Dallas Cowboys went out there and played good defense, went out there, started their rushing attack, made it look like it used to look when they were a power in this league early in this season. And now I look around and I don't see any team that doesn't have issues. You guys keep telling me it's the same old Cowboys. What are they going to do when they get to the playoffs? I ask you this. What is Green Bay going to do when they get to the playoffs? What is Aaron Rodgers going to do when they get to the playoffs? What is Aaron Rodgers' record in NFC championship games? Anybody? 1-4. Okay. But y'all don't have any concerns with them? Okay. What about Arizona? What they look like in the playoffs? Oh, anybody? Nobody knows. We ain't going to put that full screen up. What about these Rams right now, these struggling pick-six Rams that are out there? Anybody? They lost 3 straight games. And the only team you can kind of look at, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and all you're doing is borrowing from last year and then adding it to what you think they're going to turn into going forward because Tom Brady's there and they're going to get healthy and AB is finally vaccinated. So the point is, every team has issues. Why are we going to exaggerate the ones with the star? Why are we going to exaggerate them for the Cowboys?
Marcellus, you just went from absolutist to not be absolutist to be futuristic. Like, you just took all the reasons why we shouldn't like other teams in the NFC because of what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
Rather than look at what the Green Bay Packers, I think the Green Bay Packers look pretty good right now. If you're asking me if I'm going to compare what the Packers look like right now and the Dallas Cowboys look like right now, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers based on what I am seeing. And if we are going to really parse what that question is, and we're going to look at all those words, then let's look at the one word that you seem to be skipping over, which is, has it erased all concerns? There's no way that what they did last night can erase all concerns because, to Joey's point, it didn't erase the concerns of the rushing game, which is why I started with talking about Dak Prescott not being a difference maker or wanting to rely. Joy said it. You don't want to put Dak in a position where you have to rely on him too much. You want him to be able to do what he does and take advantage of the pieces around him, but you're not asking him to go out and outright win the game the way you would an Aaron Rodgers, to throw people open, etc. So is there concern? Yes, there has to be concern because the offensive line has not played to the same level, because the rushing game is not there, because your wide receiving core has been dinged up, and we've seen how much Dak struggles when he doesn't have all the weapons around him. So has last night beating the New Orleans Saints, who Taysom Hill decided to come over and help you get the job done, that's going to erase all my concerns about what the Cowboys have been the last few weeks? It is impossible that result, that performance is going to erase all my concerns that the Dallas Cowboys may not be a Super Bowl contender this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rick. Taysom Hill definitely deserved the game ball from the Cowboys yesterday. But we're talking about all the concerns for all these other teams. We're not talking about the other teams right now. I have concerns about almost every team in the NFL right now. There's a lot of parity going on right now, but we're not talking about all of them. When we talk about them, then I'll list the concerns I have about them. We're talking about the Cowboys, and I have some concerns about them. I am a realist. Some may confuse that with being a pessimist, but it is, in fact, a realist. And I watched the game last night. That's why the box score might tell you that the Cowboys got back on track with the running game. But if you watched the game, you saw that they, in fact, didn't. They had one explosive play from Tony Pollard. That's great. I'm not going to exclude it, but I am going to have the entire perspective of what happened in that game. And it was not a good running game performance by the Cowboys. And whether you want to put all of that on the offensive line or some of it, and some of it on Zeke, and some of it on his injury, and some of it on Tony Pollard should get more carries, I don't know what the solution is. Mike McCarthy will be back next week, likely, and then they'll figure it out, hopefully. But that's what the concern is right now. And I think that that's fair. Are they still a good team, good/great team? Yes. Are they going to win the division? Yes. Am I optimistic-ish about it? No, because I'm a realist.
You're a realist?
I know what I watched last night. I know what I watched last night. You're not going to talk me out of it. I have some concerns about the Cowboys. It's not panic time. They did exactly what they were supposed to do against a reeling opponent with a non-quarterback
gadget
playing at the quarterback position and turning the ball over at a very high amount. So they did what they were supposed to do. But looking forward, you can still be a little bit concerned about the running game.
And that's coming from Joy the Realist. Okay, now you're going to make me have to quote the great philosopher, Andre 3000.
Oh.
Because Andre told me that if you say real talk, I probably don't trust you. And you said you real, you the realist.
Say that. I said realist.
I don't know if I should.
Realistic.
Okay, America.
Realistic is different. Don't change the word.
Andre said that you need to call him up if you can reach him. Here's the thing. You said that the running game wasn't on track. And the running game still is an issue for concern. When that 6.1 yards per carry we watched last night was the best for the Cowboys since week 4, when everyone was talking about them potentially being in a Super Bowl. But that's still an issue for you. Then you guys bring up injuries. When we see a CeeDee Lamb come back, when we see Amari Cooper come back, tongue hanging out because he tired from the COVID, but he's still on the team. We see DeMarcus Lawrence back. We see that they're getting healthy at the right time. But that's still a concern for you guys. Okay, it's interesting. Then y'all bring up Taysom Hill, who gets the Dallas game ball, right? And I know this about the game of football, and y'all know it too. You don't walk out there and give anybody anything. They take it. And these Dallas Cowboys, they were taking that football away from Taysom Hill. These Dallas Cowboys injured Taysom Hill. These Dallas Cowboys went out there. Whoa, what was that? 4 interceptions right there by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what world y'all living in, man, but it sounds like y'all a little more pessimistic than I, so I shall go to break.